welcome to our Uncovering Emotions Fast session. This whole session will be working in metaFox.online, which is the tool that I'm using, that we're developing, and that I want to show you a bit more about how that could be useful for you. So first of all, who are you speaking to? Who am I? I think a little bit of background. In 2018, my co-founder and I, we started metaFox with our wives together. And while privately building families, we also built the company. And we're developing coaching tools like these beautiful picture cards here for team building, which you might know, because we have sold tens of thousands of those. And I think the slide is even wrong here. It says over 100,000 copies sold. It should be 150 by now. Maybe I should update that. All over the world. So mostly in Germany, France, the US makes a big part, a little bit of Australia, Singapore, and the rest of the world. And all of these tools are there because as coaches, trainers, facilitators, mediators, teachers, right? People who work with people, we want to work often below the surface. And that is where our expertise lies. So we want to address values and needs, emotions, conflicts, the elephants in the room, and so on. And today, in this session, we want to focus on emotions. So my question for the two of you is, in which situations do you work with emotions, so that we can tailor the session a bit towards your use cases?
So I'm a trainee psychotherapist here in the UK, and working emotions is at the center of my work with clients. And I have used the D pictures, the original D picture, and that was really useful. So I have used, I think, 3 times now with different clients, and really found that useful too. And I use it a lot for clients, say at the beginning or at the end of the work, to ask them, like, where do you feel you are now? And where do you feel you want to be after our work? So ask them to pick our cards to represent where they are. Is that exactly emotion? It is part of it, And sometimes for clients, if they find it difficult to express, then I would ask them to pick a card to represent how you feel or where you are today. So that's, as a psychotherapist, as a counselor.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's exactly the use cases that those picture cards are mostly used for. David, what about you?
Can we flip it around and do family?
We can do whatever we want here.
Yeah, I just thought it would be, for me, having 2 young kids has a range of emotions.
Yeah. Same here. Having a
Same here.
child, teenager, explosive age,
Okay. And what do you do with your kids when you now talk about emotions here?
Just having to deal with, both of them are neurodiverse. They present challenges and they can bring up emotions that I have to work through without taking it out on the kids.
Yeah. So you have to help them process, basically. Is that right?
Yeah. So they have to process and I also have to process with my upsets. So yeah, we're all processing.
Everybody's processing. Okay. And okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to touch on what you said in the coming slides, because there are 3 main obstacles if you want to actually go below the surface and talk about any of these deeper topics, including emotions. And the first one is awareness, right? And you mentioned that, Chen, if your clients don't know exactly what or how they can express something, then you use the images. Or David, I'm not sure if that's the same for you with your kids, if how well developed their emotional vocabulary is, or if it's more explosive and expressive. But most people then on step 2, they don't have the vocabulary, right, to name the different emotions. And if you can't name it, you can't tame it, right? So that's what they say, name it to tame it. Because then you can work with it, right? You create this box, this label. And number 3 is you need the trust and the psychological safety to say what you want to say about your inner state. Even if you have the awareness and you have the vocabulary, you might still not say anything if you don't trust your counterpart or the group you're working in, right? I'm often also working with group coaches or trainers where that is even more applicable. And so working with our tools helps you with all of these 3 steps, basically, or these three obstacles. Yeah. And then mostly we work with, and develop tools for the people working with groups, right? The people working one-to-one. And it says coaches here, but that also should read psychotherapists, right? If you work one-to-one. Then leaders who only have that deeper development aspect as part of their role, right? Because they have also many other things to do. You have to manage people, and sometimes the coaching style is not the right way to go. And then any other helping professionals. And today, I would like to, if you want to go one step back, work with you on the second step. Okay, I think the first one, bringing awareness, that's where pictures are most helpful. Now, in the second step, when we talk about vocabulary, that's where word cards come in, and you can already see them here on the slides. And that is what I would like to show you today. And to do that, I thought I'll show you an example from my own life today, very practically speaking. And it's great that we have the small kids example already here because, of course, the kids are involved. Let me show you that. And then after that, we can actually do something practical. I'll invite you through a link and we can do some playing around here. Okay? So what you see here is the board. This was a screenshot of what I did here to visualize it. And I asked myself, in that situation today in the morning, which emotions did I feel, right? And I selected these cards out of 50 cards. Then the second step, that's the first step, the surfacing step. Then on the second step, we need to model this. And here I use a timeline. In which succession did these emotions trigger each other, right? And all of us have these pathways, these automatic emotional runways in our brains that are triggered. And then you go from emotion A, B, C, right? Until you catch yourself, hopefully. And so first, I was surprised, then angry, then sad, then miserable. And then on the outlook, there was hope. In the next step, I am then trying to take this and shift it and make it into something I can use. And I do that by adding all the context and the necessary context, at least not all the context. And here it was in the morning. I was doing stuff in the kitchen. And my wife, she was having breakfast with the kids, right? And at some point I get over there and the clock's ticking. Of course, we want to get our kids to school and to kindergarten. And I'm the one bringing them. So at some point I'll have to leave the house. I want to start working at a certain time. So there is some time pressure, right? And yeah, she is not getting the kids ready to our agreed plan and say, I'm surprised because that ruins the planning for my day. I get angry. I get sad. And I'm like, are we not playing on the same team here? Shouldn't, get the teeth brushed or whatever the next step there is. But then on the outlook, we agreed also to talk about this later when we meet the next time in the day. And so that is then taking this model, talking about it, and shifting the perspective on what's happened, making it actionable. And so we have that 3-step process. First, we surface what is there, right? The emotion words in this context. Then we structure it, and then we use that structure to get a new perspective on what has happened or what we have experienced. We can then discuss it because it's there. We can both see it. right? We might even change things about it. Include my wife's perspective in that sense, or the kid's perspective. And the structure I chose here is a timeline structure, very roughly. And so what we have here is the 3-step model that always is behind the use of any coaching tool. First, you bring something to the surface that wasn't accessible before. Maybe it wasn't aware, you weren't aware that it is there. Maybe you didn't have the words for it. Maybe you didn't have the trust for it, right? So we have these obstacles. But we can bring something new into the conversation to enrich the conversation. Then, secondly, it's about structuring the new information in a way that is useful to us in what we're doing in the coaching, in the therapy session, in the team building session. And then lastly, we use the created structure, the model, to change reality with it, right? Or to run experiments with it. So that's the 3-step, very simple model that we use, and that is extremely powerful if we now apply it across a wide variety of tools, a wide variety of methods for structuring, and of course, options for using the model and shifting something in people. Any questions until here? Because that's kind of the intro part, and then the next step would be to go practical.
None from me.
For me, surfacing and shifting really kind of straight away makes sense. Kind of I struggle a bit with the structuring.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
but-
problem. I can show you some things here. So if you don't structure, then you just get these cards on this whiteboard here, right? And somehow we need to simplify this so that it becomes digestible for our client, right? What do we do with this now? What I did is I used the timeline, right? But I could have also gone a very different way, which is saying these emotions came up in the conversation, and ask the question, what are the underlying needs which are not met in these situations? So if I say that needs and emotions are connected through nonviolent communication as a theory, and I say unfulfilled needs lead to unpleasant emotions, and the whole problem are the unpleasant emotions, right? So I could have also said, okay, let's take the next tool here. We bring in needs, and we can just select different needs. I can show you that here, actually. Very practical. And then make that connection for where they come from. So this is how it then looks like. So we have all these different human needs here. And we can talk about the origin of these emotions, which is not what I chose here to do in a structuring sense, right? I was more like, okay, what actually happened in the timeline? And we could still enrich that later if we want. We could also look at this in the context of a pattern, right? Is that happening one time, or is that happening often? So maybe, yes, there is hope, but then we could imagine a scenario where there is actually another arrow here, because tomorrow we'll have the same problem, right? Then we get into a recurring pattern. Then I would probably draw it a bit differently, more like a circle, right? And add the context here and what is going wrong so that we get back to the same problem. And so these are different ways to create structure and to model the situation.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I guess for me it makes sense, and I see overlapping with the nonviolent communication. Yeah, the 4 steps of the NVC.
Yeah, these are one way to think about it, right? And I chose to enrich it here on the structuring side still with a little bit of what happened, and then also parts of what my thoughts are, right? So my thought here is, are we not on the same team? And so you can also look at this through a CBT lens, for instance. It really depends on what your own background is and what's best for the client in that moment. I want to show you maybe also two more structuring ideas, and just to bring that home. And what do we have here? Here, for a client, I was working with picture cards to create a vision for her life. And as you can see, she chose 5 images. And at the beginning, we just had the 5 images. And then I asked her, okay, now what is the meaning behind those? And then we actually found that there are only 3 categories: the exploration theme, the team theme, and the growth theme. And the images belong to those categories. And we added some context, things that she associated with these images. So here, that's also a form of structuring by clustering up into categories of meaning. So there's 3 main pillars that are important for her business future. And then in the next step, which we didn't do, but we could ask, how do these 3 different categories now relate? Because they, of course, are artificial and arbitrary categories, and they will overlap, right? They're not mutually exclusive. Yeah, and maybe one last model, which is a little bit more on the complicated side, is here. We were structuring her customer acquisition process. So these are all things that she said, right? So this is more on the technical business side. But first we get the ideas out of her head, and then we put them into a funnel logic, which is a different way to structure things. Okay, let's stick to the emotions topic. Are you good if we do a short exercise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's do this. Let's do a little peer coaching. And we're only 3 here, so that's very easy. I'd like you both to think about a conflict. Can be an internal conflict, can be some conflict with somebody else. And pick something that's real in your life, because you can only work with real things in a meaningful way. It shouldn't be something super huge, right? We don't want to open boxes that we can't close in the next 30 minutes. And then you can already write down or ask yourself, what was the conflict about and who was involved? I'm sharing my session here with you, so you can join me here once you are done. And we're working with the emotion cards here. How did I feel in the conflict ? And let's say you can select up to, let's make it, okay, 6 cards. It's okay. Boom. Okay, cool. I can see David is already here. Jan is also here. Very good. And now you're here on the whiteboard surface. So that's just a regular whiteboard tool, like there's many on the market. We can add Post-its or write something. So far, so good. And now I'm starting the emotion card set. And you should now see a pop-up with a lot of different emotion words. And you can choose up to 6. Oh, sorry. Let me go one step back because I forgot to check that button. Okay. Now here again. You can choose up to 6 images for emotions that you felt during that conflict. Have a look at all the different cards there are from top to bottom. They are sorted from top to bottom. How much energy they contain. So the red ones are very activating, right? They give you energy to do something in the real world, while the gray ones on the bottom, they're very deactivating. I, as a coach who is facilitating this exercise, I can now see the things you have been choosing, right? So that's also valuable information if you work with people, that you see what's happening.
Oh, cool. So I can choose a total of 6 cards, do I?
Yes, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
I just want to limit it.
Yeah.
So you choose the 6 most important ones or less. David, you're already done? I assume?
Yeah, I'm pretty much.
Cool. Are you also good, Chen?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
done.
sorry. So, I didn't realize. Okay, then I just clicked on Show Cards. And now 2 new boards will be created for the 2 of you. You can see them down here in the menu with your names on them. And now I could, say, for instance, send you into a breakout in Zoom and tell you now do a peer coaching exercise. Just the 2 of you. One's the coach, one's the coachee, like in a regular coach education program. But for now, we're 3 people here. Let's have a look at these together. And David, you chose these different cards here. Can you tell me more about it?
So the situation was I went to pick up my eldest son yesterday. He got off the bus, decided to sit in the back of the car, didn't want to talk to me when we drove home.
Okay. Where does the confusion come in?
I didn't know why he was upset. He was,
What happened next? Can you run us through the whole story of your emotions
I
and
felt
how it
very
evolved?
confused that he had decided to get in the back seat of the car like a taxi. I felt some pain about it. I felt disappointed. I felt a little bit of despair in the moment of frustration. And then I just returned to calm. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. I assume that the unpleasant emotions here on the left, they came one by another in pretty rapid succession.
Yeah, there was another emotion prior to that was joy. I didn't get a chance to do it because of 6 cards. But the joy of, I was looking forward to seeing him, saying hi and chatting with him.
Oh,
Just didn't seem to want to chat or talk to me.
so you have that expectation of joy and the disappointment of that not being met, right? So that's connected here. Oh, disappointment always also has something with recurrence. So is that something that you have experienced more often?
This isn't the first time he's done it, but it's just, he can be quite difficult getting into the car. And so I think he grunted at me a couple of times.
Okay. Which of those emotions is the strongest if you had to choose one?
Probably confusion.
Okay. Let's make this a bit bigger here.
Mm.
And the other ones. How? Because of your expectation here?
Yeah, it was an expectation. I thought we'd got past this. I wasn't sure why he was the way he was. I was looking forward to chatting to him, seeing how his day was. Yeah, it was just, the rest just happened very instantaneously, and they just showed up and disappeared because it was like, oh, there's not much I can do about it, and just move on and let him decompress when he needs to decompress.
Last question. What happens next? So we have the unpleasant emotions. We have your...
Return to calm
and after that, what happens after that exactly? Oh, I think he's frozen now. David, are you still with us? I don't think so.
Yeah, looks like he's frozen.
Okay, let's give it a minute. He's gone. He's back.
I am back. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
I get. So what happens after calm? That was the question. So we have the unpleasantness, then we have the rationalization. It is what it is. Self-regulation, calming yourself down. What happens afterwards?
After calm, so the end of the story was upset with something that happened at work, at school, sorry, and just needed to process it. And he came and apologized later for it.
Okay, need to process. How do I write this? Unpleasantness at school, problems at school.
Yeah, something. Problem at school.
Yeah. Great, thank you for that. So we have quite an overview here of what happened in your situation.
No.
Chen, are you also good to go?
Yeah, I'm happy to. But it's also okay if you want to spend more time with David.
David, are you good? We could always do more, right? So this is obvious. But
the therapist is coming out and Chen, she wants to unpack it all. And
Yeah.
okay, Chen,
it's
your turn.
Yeah, actually, what I thought of is the situation right now. So my teenage daughter is upstairs in her bedroom. It is 11:30 in the UK, and yet she's still not out of bed. And I remind her, I said, you're going to go over to your friend this afternoon at 1 o'clock. What are you going to do before that? She said, yeah, I will do. And then she's there. So I feel kind of angry, upset. But then I also don't want to. It is summer holiday, second week, and we just come back from our 4-day holiday yesterday. So I guess she's tired. She wants to recover or recuperate from our trip. So it's between, should I tell her more what she needs to do? It's a bit like David's situation. I have these expectations of her being a girl who's managed her time, probably not lying in bed still after 11 a.m. here. But I guess I'm also aware that she's a teenager and my therapist training kicked in. She's going through this developmental stage that she needs space. She needs to break away from me. Yeah, so that's where my open Monday was. But it does I always, several times now, not once, found myself in this situation between, should I be more, strict, or should I be putting more discipline, or should I relax a bit more and let her grow? So yeah, that's the tension. Always there's the tension between mother, daughter, or parent, teenage child. Yeah. Give them, how do you be firm, but still give them freedom? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Especially with a teenager, you also have a change in role, right?
yeah,
Okay.
the constant tension there, I would say. Try myself, be more curious, rather try to come from a place of curiosity and try to step back. But it's really hard. I have to say, it can be really hard. And today is because we have this meeting, so I just tell her 11 o'clock I have this meeting. Oh, leave her. Yeah.
You didn't touch on the anger and the miserable part yet.
I was angry, kind of, but really try to hold that anger into myself, really. Like I didn't, sometimes I let the anger come out. Like, why didn't you just do what you need to do rather than, I don't want to be the grumpy mom who will always repeat whatever every day. You need a bit of structure or retold. We have agreed at the beginning of the summer, you have to get out of bed by 10 o'clock. Yeah. So that's the anger bit, or almost a bit like, she was very different from when I was 12. I was 12. I was like, have to help my mom a lot, don't I? Rather than have these, yeah. I know. I don't think I ever get out of bed after 12, after 10. No. Yeah, that's the anger bit. Why did I have the kind of childhood that she is having now? So envy, isn't it?
Oh, envy.
Almost.
Okay.
Envy,
It's powerful.
anger.
Envy is also here. Let's add this here.
Yeah.
Bit red.
Anger. Yes, upset, definitely.
Thank you for sharing. What do you think about the representation that we have here for the situation that you just laid out for us?
Oh, you mean how was she here? How was she?
No, I mean, what do you think of the visual that we have? How well does it represent what you just said?
Like that? I couldn't quite see the full picture. Would you be able to pull it up a bit? I couldn't see the lower part. Oh, is it my side? Oh, yes, I can see it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything missing?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. So, yeah, try to go to the open-minded part. Yeah.
Super interesting, especially now after talking this out. Then later you realize there's the question, the envy part, right?
Yeah. Maybe that's, yeah, that's deep-seated. Yeah, deep-seated emotion.
Let me make sense. Somewhere, yeah. And then you have all these thoughts that come with it, rationalizations that help you to calm down. She's a teenager, her brain's developing. She might need more sleep, just physiologically speaking. She wants to take her holidays how she wants to take them, right? And all these ideas, these thoughts that help you to calm down. Similar to what we had with David over here, where he says it is what it is. I think we could also go a bit deeper into this thought itself, but it's one that helps you to ground yourself, right?
Yeah.
Oh. How are you doing right now, Chen?
The thoughts are useful, the theory, but I think sometimes the emotion can really, today, I think I wasn't too bad, but sometimes I would say the emotion can really get out of hand. I could be shouting. I could be, yelling at her. And then, so that's the thing. Yeah, it's like that lightning. I like that lightning. That lightning probably could be red, not blue. I'm curious, why is blue for you? It's almost like,
Sure, maybe we can change that.
yeah, probably,
Oh, no,
that's good. Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And if we dig deeper now, just copy this, create a new board, because that seems to be the core of your conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could look into the beliefs that are there that you hold that create that tension. There can be the necessity to shift some beliefs from having a small kid where you have to make sure they do everything more or less right because they don't have the kind of agency needed to make decisions on the decisions for themselves, which older kids do, teenagers do, adults have to do, right? So this could be about letting go, but it could also be about your own history, as you already mentioned. We could look into the needs that might not be met for you in that situation. We could also explore a potential clash of values, right? Maybe that's between the two of you. Could also, so we could apply a lot of different lenses here going forward. And I think that would require deeper research and conversation, right?
It wouldn't be one session, no.
We wouldn't do it right now. But I'm just saying, based on what we already have here, these would be some of the options. And we could work here with the value cards, the need cards. We could work with imagery. How would you like the relationship to be? Envision that. What behaviors would be connected to that, and what would you have to believe to make this relationship future happen? So there's so much you could do here.
Yeah.
I'm saying. Okay, let's
really
take
good. That's really helpful. Yeah. What I do have that to try to envision what sort of relationship I would like to build with her, and then try to let that image or future vision guide me right now. Yeah, that is really useful. Yeah. Thank you.
So you have that today, basically. All right.
Thank
hey,
you.
Daphne.
Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah. No worries. And we can say this is the whole discipline part, right? That comes from the past. Because for kids, you have to use discipline, right? And this one is more the future of the freedom part, because as she's becoming an adult and in the future, she'll have to exercise her freedoms, right? And be sufficiently skilled at doing so. So if that's the clash today, then and the question is, what's coming next? And that's what you just said. So how does the tomorrow look like?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
that coaching exercise. And also, David, thank you for sharing yours earlier. And one more thanks for holding the space for each other. Now, having seen these two different emotion pathways that we just looked at, what can you take from this experience in your professional role, right? We're all working with people. So what do you take away from this?
So you're looking for the value for the people that we work with? Is that the question?
I'm asking, what can you learn from this experience?
Personally, our case study, or I guess?
No, not within, exactly, not within.
Yeah.
We take a step back and look at this with a professional lens, right? What does that mean for us as working with other people? Yeah.
So I think it comes back to naming it. I think being able to name it and not feel shame about it. First thing and the last thing was the psychological space to feel the emotions that we're feeling, or the client to feel that, and give them the space to be able to coach through. Yeah, I think it's a really powerful one-on-one situation, particularly that there's lots of emotions that so lots of opportunities to talk through with in heated situations.
Thank you. Jen, you
Yeah.
take away.
Yeah, I think David already said it quite well to have the awareness and then to be able to name it, to have an open mind, to allow us to feel. Yeah.
What was really interesting for both of us is that we'd already processed it. We had come out the other side, but I think it would be quite interesting to see where there's a hot take, where it is actually in the moment for someone, a very different experience, because I think we both intellectualized and worked out how we were going to make it work. But when you're dealing with someone that's in the moment, it's a very different process and may help de-escalate it.
Yeah. And that would be the next step, right? So what kind of behaviors can you change, or what conversation is to be had with your kids in that context to say, how can we better work together? How can I help you? At least in your case, David, it's about distress. So the question is, how can I help you in that situation? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you just mentioned is, number one, awareness. What we just brought a lot of awareness to the whole situation, seeing it in one piece, being able to then share it. Then we name it, name the individual emotions, and that gives us power over them to a good degree. And then in the situation itself now, being able to have the psychological safety, no shame, allowing yourself to actually feel it. By talking about it, you re-feel it, right? So it's the same circuits that are firing again as we had in the situation, living through it, and then having the space to express everything. And all of that's possible here. And what we just did is what we say is visual coaching. We not only work verbally, but we work visually. And we have different tools, visual tools that we can use to enhance our verbal work. So it's complementary, not at all in contrast or in conflict with verbal work, but it's a complementary tool set and modality that we can work in that helps us with focus, understanding, and memory. And right now we use the emotion cards, but depending on who you work with and how you work, you might want to work with a lot of different tools, including the picture cards that we mentioned earlier, also working with strengths, with values, beliefs. You might be skilled in working with inner parts. You might want to use a Wheel of Life standard assessment tool, quantification. You might want to work with a strength discovery tool where people can get feedback and for their strengths, right? So you have a layover between self-assessment and other people's assessment of yourself. And more tools that we're building, like constellation board and scaling questions. So all of these are different tools that we can use here in this tool. Today we used one of them. And before we close, I want to leave you with two offers, if those are interesting to you. The first one is, if you want to play around with the software, it's very affordable. You can go check it out on metaFox.online. I'll also paste those in the chat. And the second one is our Academy program, because in October, for the first time, we will do an actual education program. Daphne is going to be on board for that, and that's going to be fun. And we'll have a look at visual coaching, the principles behind it, go a lot deeper on the things that we did today. And if you're interested, join us for the first time. It's going to be really good. Also affordable. We'll also make mistakes, like with everything that you do for the first time. So I'll make that promise already now. yeah. And test it out yourself. It's quite easy. I hope, at least with working with the software. If you don't find it easy, also tell me, please, because then we have to make changes to it. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
How long is the certification? Oh,
The certification is 12 weeks. Let me
okay.
scroll down here. And we do it with several calls per week. So we have a theory call, we have a practice call, and we have a peer coaching call where we bring people together to actually practice the new tools. And this is embedded in a 12-month community, because after 12 weeks, you will not be 100% proficient, right? That comes through practice and doing it. And within these 12 months, we will have a close-knit community. You can ask questions whenever you want. We'll also have calls along the 12 months to bring everybody together to see what works, what doesn't work, help you over hurdles you might have. And how that exactly will look like, I can't tell you yet, because we'll build it together with the people in the first group. And it's going to be $9.99, just from the pricing perspective. And it also includes 12 months of the software itself. So depending on how you like to learn, you can go the way of trying it out, experimenting, seeing what there's there in information online. And if you want to have people to do that together with, to learn together, have a more structured approach where we have calls and we have dedicated practice, then join us on the program.
Beautiful. I'm going to go because it's late here in
Perfect.
Austria. But I will have a look at this, Max. Yeah. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Chen. It was lovely to listen and to be able to share. And Daphne, nice to meet you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
But I'm definitely interested and we'll have a look. So thank you.
Yeah, have a look, please, and hit me up on any questions.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.